And I could tell myself, just let it go, just keep going. And I don't know, like I know people say the power of positive thinking can change things, but it's like I try to be so accountable and so responsible that I beat myself up about every little thing.
So we're gonna talk about that. And what you said is so relevant. Like a lot of us, we don't realize, and I've said this in other Zooms before too. Some of y'all been parents since y'all was a kid. And you really got to
Right. My
understand
dad
this. Like you've
told
literally
me
been a
that.
mother or a father since you were a child. And you got to
Yeah,
ask
my
yourself,
dad
like,
told me that. He
when did
told
I
me.
ever have a chance to actually just start being an adult and learning what kind of adult I want to be? Most people that got pregnant young, they realize that they haven't taken a season for self since they had their child.
Yeah, my dad told me that. He said you probably like your emotional intelligence stopped at that adolescent
Yep.
age from having kids to start trying to be responsible for them.
Yep.
So emotionally, I didn't develop from that age, and I could see me doing childish things, like
Yes.
reacting to my kids in a childish way,
Yep.
because I feel, and that when he told me that, I was like, it makes so much sense. My emotional intelligence is still that of an adolescent,
Yep. And this is
and I
when we
just
get
grew up
into.
financially and being trying to be responsible.
Yes, and see, this is when we get into situations where you'll see parents damn near in competition with their kids. Some of y'all, I'm pretty sure, have experienced situations where it's almost like, damn, is my mama competing with me? Or do my parents actually want to see me do better? Or some of y'all, hell, they've openly said it to you once they realize you've gotten further in life than they have and they've been living longer than you. It gets to a point where you start getting stuff said to you like, oh, what you think you better than us because you getting a little bit of money or because you got a nice car or because you start to see their insecurities and their self-esteem issues being projected out into their relationship with you. And then sometimes you'll see it where family will stop being supportive because it seems like you've surpassed them. And all of this stuff plays a role in self-esteem, esteem about self, toxic situations. All of this stuff is relevant to growth. Anybody else care to share before we get started?
Yeah, I want to share.
Go for it.
Yeah, so for me, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Emmanuel.
So for me, I realized that I had low self-esteem when I found your videos. I realized that I was doing things that just I was using money, designer clothes,
Yes.
buying people liquor, paying
Yep.
people's bills, just to get validation and approval so people would be with me. But
Yep.
the people I was allowing around me were using me,
Yep.
abusing me, doing everything to me. But I think Renee said this earlier that now I'm so resentful. I don't trust nobody. I don't want nobody around me. I
Yep.
don't want no friends. I don't trust nobody based on the decisions and people I chose to let around me because I
Yep.
have such low self esteem.
And what he's saying is so relevant because there's a lot of us that we're not mature enough to admit what he just admitted. And you see it with so many people, young and old. Like he said, you get around people and you overly care for them, meaning you buy them stuff, you spend amounts of money you got no business spending on them. You start doing things that are thirst plays for yourself just to try to fit in with certain groups or to get people to like you more than they actually started out doing. Like you will, I see people, they will, like he say, go to the mall and spend unreal amounts of money on designer and stuff just to get the 15 minutes of fame or the little bit of attention it's going to get when they wear that outfit to pacify it or to feel some sort of void within them about their esteem. And then for women, a lot of us aren't real with ourselves that this is why we always get with men that don't got much going on and we try to like build them up or grow them or raise them. You get with them and you try to pour into them and fix all their problems and stuff because this is the only way you really feel like you're valuable. If a lot of us are honest with ourselves, we don't even really believe the dude would choose us or, actually like date us or give us a chance if we weren't letting them use our vehicle or moving them in or bringing them around our whole lifestyle so easily. These are the things that's going on. And I'm going to tell y'all something else. In the gay community, especially with gay males, you see a lot where, like Emmanuel said, you will see people, trying to just look the part all the time, every time they step, just to be accepted. They get in these relationships, and of course, it's understood that, in order to be deemed some sort of high valued gay male, you got to actually look successful. So you see all these scams and schemes going on, all just trying to fit in. Not because the person actually feels like I have to do all of this in order to be happy, they do it to feel relevant. Because just sitting with self, they don't feel relevant. And then it starts to be so much flaw and cap shit going on. You realize after a while, I'm lost in this shit. I'm literally lost in this. I don't know who actually like me and who don't. Anybody else care to share?
I do.
Go ahead.
I realized that it wasn't until I became conscious of my thinking, excuse me, of my thinking, that I realized my self-esteem and how I view myself was directly tied to my negative mindset.
Right.
Because I view everything else negative, kind of helps that I view myself in a positive light.
Exactly.
So that's what I came to realize.
You're so on point because this is what I be talking about on my lives when I speak on how when y'all see people on the internet and all they do is just troll. And a lot of times you'll see them tag laughing emojis onto the stuff that they comment on or point out simply because it's their way of trying to make it seem like, it's not that big of a deal, but it's very severe. The fact that everything they look at, they point out what's wrong. Everything they comment has to do with something negative. Anywhere they go, you ever went out to eat with somebody and literally everything be wrong? They don't like the water. They don't like the forks. They don't like the table. They don't like the waiter. They don't like the waitress. They don't like the manager. They don't like the parking spot. They don't like the food. It's like, what the fuck did you even leave your house for? And a lot of times they don't realize it. They don't realize that even the people that came with you don't want to be bothered with you because of your negative viewpoint on things. And then you got to think, a lot of these people are raising children. So if in the community, we find it hard to tolerate them, what do you think the kids going through at home? Where it's somebody that constantly just speaks on negative shit.
Roaches.
Being in this live, just being in this Zoom right now is bringing me to tears, and just to have all of these people in the Zoom that can relate. I'm so far gone. It's just like I can't even believe I made it here, but I'm excited at the same time.
I'm excited. I'm excited for
Dorsey.
I'm excited for you because it's important that we have these kind of conversations. And when some of y'all really think about it, outside of platforms like mine or, opportunities like this that y'all chose to pay into, you won't ever actually have a positive, healthy conversation about this type of stuff. Most of the time, if you think about it, if you bring this kind of stuff up with the...
I really feel where you're coming from. And
almost like literally in tears.
Well, I don't want to cry, but it's really touched me to where I feel such a positive emotion it's came over my body.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to
because
understand.
The change is available.
Right.
Yeah. I page watch my ex and their new relationship almost every day, and it's bringing me to a state of mind and a space where, why am I watching them so much? Why am I paying so close attention?
Making your own self miserable. Making
love earlier about being on someone's page.
And this is literally for y'all. Literally for y'all ladies, you can write it down. This is making your own self miserable. A lot of us, the stuff that we say that someone else is doing to us, and I'm gonna just speak on this for a second, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. For a lot of us that get upset about things on social media, if you really just be an adult for a second, it's a choice to be online.
Just block them.
It ain't even about blocking. You got to understand where, and really hear me when I say this, Brittany, where self-control comes into play. You don't have to get up every day and check the apps or the pages of people that are not fulfilling to you.
Well, thanks to you, I've not been doing it.
So when you really think about it, like somebody just put in the Zoom chat, life distractions. When you get up and you actually gravitate towards stuff that's going to make you upset, throw you off, throw your mental off, have you in a space where you actually feel negative or upset or down or start eating in a way that is not healthy for yourself. It's like you really got to be honest. I am self-destructive right now. Like she described earlier, getting up every day and checking somebody's page to see something that's going to hurt you. What is the point of that?
I have to block his mom because
I never understood the point, but it's almost like temptation of doing it every day because I want to see where they're at in their life. I want to see certain things. I don't know. I'm just like you said, I'm just making myself constructing my thoughts.
Making yourself miserable. It literally, I'm telling y'all, it directly correlates with your self-esteem, but it also correlates with your discipline. As an adult, as an adult, you have to be honest with yourself about your maturity level. And some of us, like somebody said earlier, you still operate from an adolescent space when it comes to management of emotions, when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to understanding that my choices are a direct reflection of where my life is at. Is there anybody else that wants to share before I get started about what landed them in this Zoom?
Yes, I do love.
Go for it.
So, as someone who attaches to people quickly, I can't say that I'm a clingy person, but I could definitely say I'm a codependent person. How do you? I feel like my self esteem is like affected because of how other people perceive me. So, how would I detach myself from these people?
Got you.
I guess
So
without having to feel like I need to like.
I'm gonna go through
myself.
I'm gonna go through a series of steps that you can actually work in your life that will help you get to a better space. But definitely understand the people around you, first of all, are a reflection of your self-esteem. What type of people you keep around you or you stay up under is a direct reflection of how you feel about self. And the reason why I say this is because I get so many people that ask me, can you do a video on narcissists? Can you do a video on people that do this or do that? If you're constantly surrounded by or you're staying in relationships with people that have you constantly like looking at whether you're valuable or questioning your own mental state, you really got to tell yourself, I am in a space where I need to go work on me. Because anything that's not serving me, anything that's not healthy, that I can clearly see is unhealthy. Like, and I'm staying around it, I really got to know it is time for me to make a change in my life.
I'm at that stage now. I'm over the victim blaming stage. I went through that stage last year. Now I'm taking accountability for my actions. But it's just like the people that kind of supported me within that victim blaming stage, I no longer want them around me.
Yep.
And it's like,
That's where boundaries come into play. I seen somebody in the Zoom chat say, I'm here because I'm tired of myself. Literally, that was part of the reason that I started to make changes within myself. I got tired of the same old shit going on in my life, and it really was just me. So in retrospect, I got tired of myself. The current self that I was, I got tired of that. So then now I got to a point where I want to be a new me. I want to be different.
That's where I'm at, love. Like, I'm just tired. Like, you just doing the same thing over and over and over and over. Like, girl, just, we got to get it together.
Exactly. Somebody said tired of my own shit. That's a word in its own. So I'm going to start off by saying this. The idea of self-esteem, esteem about self, true value within self, to genuinely talk about the essence of it, it's not your physical appearance. It's the liking of oneself, how valuable you actually feel like you are in your life. So I'm going to start off speaking on what I was talking about early on my platform, health and well-being. So first place that some of y'all need to start is ask yourself, do I have any sort of pulse, goals, mindset, attention on the idea of me, just a physical human being healthy, having some sort of goals towards my well-being in the physical, being good?
What?
For some of y'all, when you stop and think about this, you got to realize I don't really have any structure for my diet. I'll eat whatever, whenever, with whoever, at any time. And you genuinely got to be real with yourself. At some point, as a grown adult, I have to start with caring about what I am feeding myself.
Can you repeat that, love? Somebody asked you to repeat it.
Health and well-being in the physical is what I'm talking about right now. So step one, do I have any sort of grip, goals, understanding, attention on the idea of what I am physically feeding myself? What do I eat? How does my diet look? Is it mostly carbs? Is it mostly sugar? Is it mostly fast food? Is it mostly cheap food? Do I pay attention to what the ingredients are in the shit I buy? Do I keep an understanding for how the food's prepared that I keep giving myself? Some of y'all, as I'm speaking on this, you're realizing I don't really care too much about nothing when it comes to food. If it's food, I just eat it. If it's something I like, I just eat it. And then some of y'all, like somebody just put in the Zoom chat, I'm an emotional eater. I'm pretty good when I'm not in my feelings, but if I get in my feelings, I will pretty much eat however. So number one, for anybody that's writing anything down, I need to get an understanding on how I want to be health-wise. For some of y'all, this is going to be, I need to go to the doctor and confront health issues. If I'm having headaches, if I'm having certain cravings, if I feel like my weight is not where I should be, if I feel like I don't get enough rest, if I feel like I'm having issues going to the bathroom every day. Some people don't realize if you eat every day, you're supposed to be shitting every day. And it's just this simple. If stuff is always going in, shit's always supposed to be coming out. And rather you go to the bathroom on a regular. If you got certain stuff going on with your, these are things that you need to confront. A lot of what turns out to be self-esteem issues are things that people know are going on within them, but they try to suppress them or hide them. This is when you see people, instead of getting up and going to the bathroom, when they got to go to the bathroom, they'll wait till everybody leave and go because they don't want certain stuff known about them. All you doing is trying to basically pacify you or put some type of blanket over shit that's wrong. And this is what makes you insecure. Everything that's going on with you as a human being, you are worthy and valuable enough to confront that shit. From body odors to weight to eating habits to sleeping habits to mood swings. Literally everything going on with you in the physical, even down to just, I make poor choices when it comes to my diet. That shit needs to be confronted so that nobody outside of you can make you feel no type of way about stuff that you already know is an issue for you.
I'll be at that zone too, love. Your health and diet, boy. Just know that.
Definitely. It's so important as adults, especially for those of us that have kids, that they see us give a shit about what we're eating, what we're consuming. A lot of people don't even realize, like, there are certain times of day that you should and shouldn't eat. Some people do realize, some don't. But a lot of people, like, the way your schedule is set up and how you eat needs to directly correlate. And some people will literally just go and just eat all day long to the point where there is no structure to their diet. Anybody got any questions on this point? Health and well-being. Anything that you can honestly sit and tell is an issue for me needs to be confronted. Some of y'all, this involves childhood traumas with eating. And then some of y'all may feel like, I ain't got no childhood traumas. But when you sat there and your mama made you eat everything on the plate, even when you didn't want it, with no care for your own feelings about what you want to put in your body, that is a fucking traumatic experience. Some of y'all really got to be honest with yourselves. Your own emotions were suppressed and muzzled based on just being controlled. So now as an adult, you don't realize my eating habits correlate with that. Go ahead. I heard somebody speak up.
So when your eating habits is already poor, do you have any suggestions on how to regain that discipline?
Yes.
When it comes to the eating habits, because I could be disciplined with everything else.
Yes. So
it's just the food is the hardest for me.
Yes. So the number one way to start off is to actually genuinely look into what the human, and literally you can just Google this, what the human body actually needs to survive. This is when you'll start to learn about antioxidants. You'll start to learn about nutrients, enzymes, vitamins, minerals, the importance of drinking water, balancing your diet out, not getting too much salt, not getting too much sugar, understanding what foods are broken down into glucose, which is sugar. Like literally, as you educate yourself more on the foods that you eat and what your body actually needs, a lot of y'all will realize most of the stuff we eat, it ain't even really doing nothing for our body. It's just filling your stomach at that moment. But literally, like health-wise, it is not doing much for your well-being, for your existence.
Love, I got a question.
Yes.
When you said about your mama forcing you to eat and we can't force our kids to eat, what we do when they just won't eat? So my son won't eat when I'm trying to cook right, but he'll eat when he go to my mama's house, or he'll eat junk. So what am I supposed to do if he won't
So
eat?
you have to, the first thing is you got to be accountable, right? For the shit that
That's what I'm doing.
Yes. You got to be accountable for the things that you introduced your child to. Because even for us as adults, you got to think about this. We get sugar cravings. We get cravings for stuff that we know is not healthy. But what we really have to understand is, and this is what you guys are going to learn when you start actually educating yourself on diet. A lot of the foods that we want to eat so bad has actually conditioned us. Meaning, like, there are certain hormones that come over you that release in your body when you eat sugars, when you eat salts and stuff like that. And that's really what you're craving, is not actually the food. So a lot of times when you introduce small kids to, a diet of high in sugar or high in salt, it is going to be a process to really get them onto things that are healthy. And you have to get the adults around you on the same page. So it's not about forcing them. It's about taking away the other options so that this is all that's left. Meaning, like, a lot of us, you got chips and all kind of snacks in your house. So of course it's difficult for the kid to focus and lock in on eating the things that are nutritious.
You know, love. I'm a emotional eater, right? So it's like when my grandson was killed, I gained 50 pounds, right? And
Right.
it still hurt, but at the same time, I'm hurting myself. So if you can't control, what you putting inside your body, you ain't controlling your life.
Yes. So this is the second thing. So the first thing is literally start to educate yourself on what your body actually needs. So for example, for me, once I learned what digestive enzymes are, these are foods that actually, when they reach your stomach, they help your gut break down a lot of stuff that is hard for your body to break down. Like, we eat a lot of shit that we're not supposed to be eating. And what makes the stuff unhealthy is because when it gets in our body will struggle to break it down. When I started actually learning what certain foods do, it attracted me to those foods, not because they taste good. Now, the second thing is what foods are good and what they do. What avocados, what pineapples, grocery store, and just start looking at stuff. It's always usually the first or the second ingredient in something. Anything that has it in there, just don't buy it. That alone will take out half the shit in your cart that you buying. And then a lot of us, we've conditioned ourselves to believe words like snack is tied to sugary stuff. But if fruits can be a snack, any type of nuts, healthy like wheats and shit like that, those can be snacks. For a lot of us, we really got to be real with ourselves. Part of the reason why, we have self-esteem issues or we're self-conscious about how we look or our weight or things that are going on with us as far as our mood, it ties back to us needing to, diet or a certain schedule with their eating. Stay consistent with the way you move with the food.
Yeah, that's hey man. Yeah, that's definitely true. I will definitely say that since I started listening to you, I don't eat.
You end up late to work. You got attitudes with your boss and your coworkers because they keep. If you literally fix your diet, you'll take your ass to sleep on time.